There is a strange kind of emptiness that grows in a world filled with constant stimulation. At first it seems impossible. How can a life full of entertainment, information, noise, and endless choices leave you feeling nothing at all? Yet this is exactly what happens. When every moment is filled with something to watch, something to scroll, something to achieve, something to think about, the mind slowly loses its ability to feel joy in simple things. The senses become overwhelmed and the heart becomes quiet. Human beings were never meant to live in a world that demands attention every second. Nature moves slowly, seasons change gently, thoughts arise and dissolve without pressure. But modern life moves at a speed the human nervous system cannot follow. Every day brings new alerts, new images, new expectations. The mind becomes flooded, not with meaning, but with stimulation. And when everything is intense, nothing feels meaningful anymore. Alan Watts often spoke about the paradox of seeking constant excitement. The more stimulation you consume, the less alive you feel. Pleasure loses its taste. Beauty loses its impact. Moments pass by unnoticed. The mind becomes numb because it has no time to rest. It is like listening to music with no silence between the notes. Eventually, the sound becomes noise, and the noise becomes exhausting. This numbness is not a sign of failure. It is the natural consequence of a life that never pauses. The nervous system dulls itself to survive the constant pressure. The heart withdraws to protect itself from overstimulation. The mind grows tired and begins to shut down its ability to feel. This is why you can look at a sunset and feel nothing. Why you can open a message from someone you love and feel no warmth. Why small pleasures that once brought joy now feel distant and flat. Most people respond to this numbness by seeking even more stimulation. They hope that a new experience, a louder distraction, a stronger emotion will bring back the feeling they lost. But this only makes the numbness deeper. Pleasure cannot be forced. Joy cannot be chased. Feeling cannot return while the mind is overloaded. The more you try to outrun the emptiness, the stronger it becomes. The truth is simple. You cannot enjoy anything anymore because you never allow yourself to be still. Joy lives in the spaces between experiences. It grows in silence, in rest, in moments where nothing demands your attention. But modern life has closed those spaces. It has filled every quiet corner with noise and pressure. And so the sense of wonder fades. To feel alive again, the mind must return to its natural rhythm. It must be allowed to breathe, to soften, to rest. It must rediscover the beauty of small moments, the taste of food, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your own breath. These simple things become invisible when you live in constant stimulation, but they are the foundation of all joy. Numbness is not the absence of feeling, it is the result of too much feeling at once. When you allow yourself to slow down, the senses awaken again, the heart opens, the world becomes vivid, and life begins to feel real. There is a quiet truth that many people never learn. The more you chase happiness, the further it moves away from you. Modern life teaches you to pursue pleasure as if it were a prize waiting at the end of a long road. You are told to work harder, think smarter, plan your future, and design a perfect life that will finally make you happy. Yet the more you chase it, the more it slips through your fingers. Happiness becomes a horizon that always moves as you walk toward it. The problem is simple. Happiness cannot be captured. It is not something you achieve and not something you earn. It is an experience that arises naturally when the mind is present. But when you chase it, the mind leaves the present moment and moves into a world of imagined futures. Your attention becomes divided. Your energy becomes scattered. You start living for a moment that does not exist. And in doing so, you lose the moment that is in front of you. Alan Watts often explained that the desire for happiness creates suffering because desire implies lack. The moment you try to grasp joy, you create a distance between yourself and the feeling you want. You say to yourself that you will be happy when you succeed, when you change, when you improve, when you fix your life. But each condition becomes another barrier between you and the simple truth that joy is found only in the present moment. It cannot survive anywhere else. This constant chase creates tension in the mind, a kind of internal pressure that tells you that this moment is not enough, that something better is coming, that you must wait for life to become meaningful. You lose your ability to enjoy simple things because your mind is not here. It is running ahead, imagining a future where happiness finally appears. And because your attention is elsewhere, you cannot feel the richness of what is already happening. When you look at your life through the lens of desire, everything becomes insufficient. A meal is just a step toward the next goal. A conversation becomes a distraction. A peaceful moment feels like wasted time. The mind becomes restless because it is always reaching for something beyond the present. This restlessness is one of the main reasons you cannot enjoy anything anymore. Your mind has forgotten how to simply be. Joy is not found in pursuit. It is found in presence. When the mind stops running, the world becomes alive again. Colors become vibrant. Sounds become meaningful. The body relaxes. The breath deepens. A simple moment becomes full. This fullness is what happiness truly is. Not excitement, not pleasure, not achievement, but a deep sense of being awake in your own life. To experience joy, you must release the idea that life needs to feel a certain way. You must let go of the belief that happiness will come only after you fix yourself or achieve something important. Joy is not waiting for you in the future. It is waiting for you to notice it now. When you stop chasing happiness, something gentle begins to happen. The pressure fades, the mind softens, the heart opens. You begin to feel emotions that were hidden beneath your expectations. You begin to enjoy small pleasures again. You begin to see that happiness is not a destination. It is a moment, a breath, a presence, and it has been available to you all along. There is a quiet moment in life when you realize that you no longer know who you are. Not because you changed suddenly, but because you spent years measuring yourself through the eyes of others. Modern life encourages constant comparison. Every achievement, every emotion, every experience is weighed against someone else. You compare your success, your appearance, your relationships, your happiness, and even your suffering. And each comparison pulls you further away from your own nature. Comparison creates a subtle form of self-rejection. When you look at someone else and believe that their life is better, you silently declare that your own life is not enough. When you compare your path to the path of another, you create an internal split. One part of you lives in reality, while the other part lives in a fantasy of how you think you should be. This split becomes the root of deep dissatisfaction, and it makes joy almost impossible. Alan Watts often explained that a flower does not compare itself to the flower beside it. A star does not compete with another star. Everything in nature fulfills its purpose simply by being itself. But humans, lost in thought and expectation, forget this simple wisdom. They believe that value comes from ranking, that self-worth depends on being better or more impressive. This belief slowly destroys the ability to enjoy life as it is. When you compare yourself constantly, you lose contact with your inner voice. You no longer make choices from your own desires. You make choices based on what looks impressive, what earns approval, what seems acceptable. You begin to live in a world of mental images instead of real experiences. The mind becomes filled with judgments. You judge your progress. You judge your emotions. You judge your past. You judge your future. This endless evaluation leaves no room for joy. Comparison also creates fear. Fear of failure, fear of falling behind, fear of not being enough, fear of being judged by the same harsh standards you use on yourself. This fear tightens the mind. It shuts down spontaneity. It suffocates pleasure. Even when something beautiful happens, you do not allow yourself to fully feel it, because your mind is already calculating how it measures against some imagined standard. Self-judgment becomes a habit. It appears in every moment. You wake up and judge your mood. You look in the mirror and judge your appearance. You start your day and judge your productivity. You move through life as if you are constantly on trial, and the judge is always harsh. This inner pressure drains your energy and leaves you emotionally numb. Joy cannot enter a mind that is filled with criticism. You cannot enjoy anything anymore because you are never truly present with yourself. You are present with the idea of who you think you should be. The comparison, the judgment, the expectation, these are the filters through which you experience everything, and they turn even simple pleasures into reminders of what you lack. But there is something powerful behind all this. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others, the moment you stop judging your life by someone else's path, the moment you stop demanding perfection from your own soul, a space begins to open. A quiet space where you can hear yourself again. A space where you rediscover what you enjoy, what you value, what brings you peace. In that space, joy begins to return, not because your life suddenly changed, but because you finally allowed yourself to live it. There comes a moment when you realize that the harder you try to control life, the less joy you feel. You plan, you push, you analyze, you demand. You try to shape every moment into something meaningful. You want life to feel exciting, fulfilling, inspiring, and when it does not, you feel disappointed. This constant pressure to make life feel a certain way slowly destroys the natural ability to experience joy. Joy is not created by control. Joy is revealed when control softens. Human beings often believe that happiness must be engineered. They believe that peace must be earned. They believe that beauty must be deserved. So they work endlessly to build the perfect circumstances, the perfect routine, the perfect relationship, the perfect future. But perfection is a prison. It traps the mind in expectation. It turns every moment into a test that reality can never pass. Alan Watts often explained that life is not a problem to be solved. It is something to be experienced, something to be witnessed, something to be allowed. But most people live with the belief that they must force life into alignment with their desires. They try to push unpleasant moments away. They try to pull pleasant moments closer. This constant pushing and pulling creates tension, and tension kills joy. When you force life, you create resistance within yourself. You resist emotions that arise naturally. You resist situations that do not fit your plans. You resist uncertainty. You resist change. You resist the flow of your own experience. And the more you resist, the more tired and disconnected you become. Joy cannot enter a closed system. It needs space, it needs openness, it needs surrender. Most people are not unhappy because life is bad. They are unhappy because they refuse to let life be what it is. They expect constant excitement and feel bored when life becomes quiet. They expect clarity and feel anxious when life becomes uncertain. They expect success and feel ashamed when they struggle. But life cannot always meet these expectations. And the gap between expectation and reality becomes the birthplace of dissatisfaction. When you stop forcing life, something begins to soften inside you. You begin to notice small moments again, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your breath, the stillness of morning, the simple comfort of being alive. These moments do not shout, they do not demand attention, they are gentle. They can be felt only when the mind stops pressing forward and finally allows itself to rest. Joy returns when you stop insisting that every moment must feel joyful. Peace returns when you stop demanding that every experience must be comfortable. Fulfillment returns when you stop chasing fulfillment. This is the paradox at the heart of human experience. The moment you release the idea of how life should feel, you become available to what life actually offers. And what it offers is often far more beautiful than what you imagined. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means trusting the natural movement of your own existence. It means allowing emotions to rise and fall without fear. It means accepting that life unfolds in its own rhythm. When you live this way, joy appears not as a reward, but as a natural expression of presence. It arises in the spaces where control once lived. In the end, joy is not something you create. It is something you uncover when you stop trying to shape life into something else. When the pressure dissolves, the heart opens. And in that openness, joy returns quietly, gently, and fully.